What's up there, Sparks? How's everybody doing out there today? All right, this one, I want to talk a little bit more about karma. Now, everybody knows karma, blah, blah, blah. What comes around goes around. Well, there's some nuances to karma, and that's kind of what I want to talk about a little. Now, to all of the salespeople out there, okay? The gift of gab is a double edged sword, and it doesn't just have to be sales, okay? When you talk somebody else into something, kind of turning them either one way or the other based on what you're telling them, you're on the hook for that. Not completely, obviously, but to a large enough degree that it registers and it comes back to you. And it's something that a lot of people don't consider, and you kind of should. And I'll give you a few quick examples because there's two nuances to karma that I kind of want to give out there. And again, you do it at what you need to, but this, like I had the gift of gab. So, believe it or not, I swallowed that fucking pill to the point that I wound up getting a marketing degree, which I regret because the more I got into sales, the more hollow I felt, to be honest with you, because it was like there was just something inside of me that did not feel very good, when I talked somebody into something. Because let's face it, sales is all about talking somebody into something that you want to sell them and getting past all of their reasons that they don't want it, or their buts and their butts. And again, I don't think anybody's going to hell by selling somebody, something that they, were looking for anywhere. If they're going to buy a car and you're a car salesman, and you want to sell them your type of a car, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about when you sell that guy a car that is a piece of shit, or you're giving a guy an extension on something or rates that his job, he's really not going to be able to afford it. And that he's kind of like struggling a little bit, instead of putting him in a car that that would fit his budget a little bit better, which would be the right thing to do. You're throwing him into something that is not going to work out for him because you want a little bit more at the end of your paycheck, as far as your commission. Those are the things you're on the hook for. So that's why all you salespeople out there, no matter what you're talking somebody into or talking someone out of, that's another thing too. It's like you're on the hook for that. So just be careful because there's a consequence to everything. The second part of karma that I want to talk about that's actually a little bit more across the board to people is when you come across or you hear something or you see something that is wrong and you don't do anything about it or say something or let somebody know, you're on the hook for that. There's karma attached to that too. But once you know something, once you see it, boom, it's registered. The karma, again, it's just an energy type thing. And a lot of times it starts to weigh on a person as well afterwards because it's in their conscience. And I'll give you a quick small example. Let's say you're in a school environment, right? Where you see that there's this guy that keeps getting picked on, right, all the time. And of course, your initial reaction, like most people, is going to be like, well, I'm just glad they're not picking on me, you know? And as long as that, I'm going to turn a blind eye to that, right? It's like, no, you got to find a way to say something. You have to find a way now that you know it and you see it and you see that it's wrong. You either now, the first thing is you got to stand right up to that bully right then and there. Now, maybe that might not be the smartest thing in the world, especially if there's a bunch of them or the guys, but another thing you can't, well, first of all, you don't participate, in it. But what you can do is you can actually go circle back when no one's around and say something to that kid. Say, hey, listen, I'm really sorry you have to go through that. Just so I don't agree with what he said. Build the guy back up a little bit. And then what you're doing is you're minimizing it. So, and that can get a lot worse. That's a very mild example. I'm going to give you a perfect example, which is pretty heinous, is that my ex-fiance, I come to find out that her own mother was aware that the stepfather that she wanted to hold on to desperately for her own reasons was molesting her own daughter. Yeah, yeah, and did nothing about it. And I come to find this out because I had the nerve and balls to step up to Miss Susan Whitaker and the courage to bring this up to her. Because when I would bring it up to Jennifer, like, like, you have to tell your mom that this fucking guy Harry. First of all, I was like, where is this guy Harry? Let's go fucking break his knees. No, 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 no. All right, all right. You don't want to do that. This fucking guy's walking around out there. So let's tell your mom. Let's bring this up. Let's get this out on the table. I'm like, you've never said anything to her? No, no, I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to hurt her feelings. I don't want to bring it all up and everything. So you're sitting there going, okay. Again, I was fiance number 3. So, there's some issues that were done over here. So anyway, winds up my fiance is getting her. Well, she wasn't my fiance yet. We were just dating. We were like a year and a half in, and she's getting her tonsils done. So me and the mother are driving back from Harrisburg. We're living in Pennsylvania, and the whole way home, I'm just thinking, how am I going to bring this up? And I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to be the guy to bring this out on the table, to bring some healing, because Jennifer certainly still needed, to heal from this. And when I brought this up to her and everything, of course I got the whole oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And I still remember the hug that I got from her was like a fucking spider hugging a fly that she knew, she couldn't eat right that second. Yeah. And I remembered being so like, wait a second, she was like, okay, thank you, goodbye. Yeah, I remember getting out of that fucking car, and I went into the house like in a daze, and I brought it up to my father. I was like, Pop, I'm like, listen, it was a hard conversation to have with him too. Um, but yeah, we both came to the conclusion that she knew. She knew. Now, did she molest her daughter directly? Is she gonna have the fucking lower level of hell that this motherfucker is going to? No. But let me tell you something. By standing idly by and letting this happen to your own flesh and blood so you could be with a man that wound up leaving you anyway is just. So anyway, I went from one extreme to another. But the point is that when you see something and you are aware of something, you have to do something about it. So if you know of a situation that's going on, like this actually came just the other day. I was running up at my favorite lake, Harry Wright Lake, and I'm just looking up in the sky, and I noticed there's I don't see a lot of chemtrails anymore these days. Maybe the white hats are really doing their job out there, and they're taking care of some shit. And then I started to think, these guys, these pilots that are up there, and they're flying around, and they're dumping these chemicals into the sky. It's like, what do they think at the end of the day? Now, are they saying, well, I have a, a family to feed. I'm just taking orders, you know, I'm just, it's like, no, you're on the hook for that. You're poisoning fucking people. You're poisoning Mother Earth. You're now, maybe not as hard of a karma as the people that were behind the whole thing planning it, but no, you're still on the hook for that. So again, you're responsible for everything. When you see something, you have to say something. Um, it's coming out now where there's people getting caught actually poisoning water supplies and stuff. And it's like the reason that they're not going to jail is because they're working with the police and they're videotaping it. And I saw a couple of these videos on Rumble. People, this isn't conspiracy theory anymore. There's government shit, and there's stuff going on behind the scenes that'll just make you shit. And the proof is, here's a guy that's been working there 20 years that's just doing his job, but now he's filming it So, because he's trying to save his own ass so they can get proof. And then, yeah, by directive of his own company, they're showing him behind the scenes trusted food source, trusted drinking sources. As soon as he started to talk about this stuff, he goes, it was the first good night's sleep that he had. So there's a conscience for a reason. You know, we have a conscience for a reason because it's the right thing to do. And so if you're hearing something or seeing something, you just because you're not doing it and involved in it, sorry folks, if you have to, again, nothing saying you go guns a blazing and you run right in the middle of it and you make yourself well, go tell somebody, go to somebody that you can trust, or start looking for another job. Start with not wanting to work for a place like that or answer to a boss like that. I went through it with my job. I was working next to a woman that all she did was talk shit about people all day long. Her own son, her own daughter, no one was off the hook. And it just got harder and harder for me to even stand next to this woman because I was feeling like a hypocrite because I'm all about this, I'm all about that. And now I don't work there anymore. And it's fucking beautiful. It's awesome. People that gossip and talk shit about other people, as soon as that person leaves the room, and it's like you're thinking, oh, well, at least they're not talking about me and everything. It's like, no, they're talking about you too. Trust me, when you walk out of the room. So just decide not to, just say, please, stop. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the bullshit that's coming out of your fucking mouth anymore. You don't have to say it like that. But if you're not saying something or you're just allowing and kind of laughing off when people are either backstabbing or talking shit or even being racist, the point is that there's different types of karma. It's not just what you do and what you're responsible for. There's talking other people into something or talking other people out of something. Whenever you change the course of someone else's free will and get them to do something else that's based on something, some people just do it for shits and giggles. So anyway, that's karma. That's the nuances of karma. Remember, we're powerful beings. We've been given free will, and it's a gift, and it's also a curse. So be very careful with what you're doing and what you're saying, or what you're not doing and what you're not saying, because once you see it, you're responsible for it, folks. All right. Well, that's it. You sparks, be good to each other. Remember, it's getting fucking crazy out there. So stay in your lane. Don't take anything personally because everybody's fucking going through their own shit. Right? Namaste, everybody. We'll see you for the next one.